81 members involved in the Uva rebellion declared national heroes. 2 guns and ammunition found in the premises of the Mount Lavinia Magistrates Court. Development Committee meeting debacle. Deputy Minister Ranjan Ramanayaka lodges a complaint with the police.
අද දිවුලපිටියේ ජනතාව ඉන්නේ බොහොම ආතතියෙන්.
දිවුලපිටියට ඔය පිටින් එන කාක්කන්ට ඕන විදියට වර්චස් දාලා යන්න දෙන්නේ නැහැ.
Presidential Commission observes auction at the central bank. International funding at risk over the appointment of the head of the ICTA.
If you want to know what's been happening here at home and around the world, well, you're watching the correct channel. A very good evening and welcome to Primetime News live on News First. I'm Mahina Bongzo.
Good evening, I'm Joel Outspoon. We start off today with a look at our top story.
"81 individuals were branded as traitors by the imperialists for participating in the 1818 Uva rebellion were declared as patriots today. This historic ceremony took place at the Magul Maduwa in Kandy under the auspices of President Maithripala Sirisena.
The event was also graced by the Mahasangha, the Devadana Nilame of the Temple of the Sacred Tooth Relic, Nilanga Dayala, Minister of Mass Media Gantha Karunatilaka and many others. Thereafter, floral tributes were made to the statues of Veerapura Nappu and Venerable Varyapola Sri Sumangala Thero, who led the 1848 Mathile Rebellion.
මේ රටේ ඉතිහාසයේ අද විශේෂයෙන්ම සිංහල බෞද්ධ ජනතාවට
Today is an important day to all Sinhala Buddhists in the country as well as all Sri Lankans. After independence from British rule in 1948, there were many attempts to rectify this. We decided to take all views on this matter into consideration and managed to bring this about last November. I believe that this is a moment of pride for Mahasangha and all Sri Lankan citizens.
මේ පිළිබඳව ඉමහත් සතුටට පත් වෙන අවස්ථාව.
The President also responded to a request made by the Mahasangha.
වහන්සේලාගේ අනුශාසනා පරිදි සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම ශ්‍රී
As per the advice of the Reverend Mahasangha, the issues in the land deeds have been rectified and those lands will be vested for the activities of the Temple of the Sacred Tooth Relic. I must also mention that the Prime Minister and the Cabinet of Ministers have been given instructions to engage in the development activities surrounding the Bogambar prison premises, taking into account the cultural importance of the premises. I was informed several months ago that through the abolishing of the Udarata Village Rehabilitation Commission, the development of the Central Hills saw a certain setback. I have made a proposal to the Cabinet of Ministers to revive this organization and I am pleased to say that it has been approved.
A month-long Satyagraha campaign carried out by the people of Kepa Pilavu Mulathiv concluded after a 42-acre plot of land that was held by the Air Force was released today. The residents of Kepa Pilavu commenced a Satyagraha demanding that the lands that was occupied by the Air Force be released to its original owners. The President too had instructed the relevant officials to take steps to release the lands to its original owners. Thereby, the communique with regard to the land being released was issued by the District Secretary of Mulathiv, Ruapati Kethishwaran. The people who initially decided to conclude the Satyagraha recommended it as a result of the issues that arose with the handing over of land. However, with the intervention of the District Secretary, the land mass of 42 acres was handed over to the 54 original owners. The people then concluded the Satyagraha campaign and dispersed.
The Presidential Commission of Inquiry to investigate and inquire into the issuance of treasury bonds visited the Central Bank of Sri Lanka this morning.
The Commission made a site visit to the Central Bank of Sri Lanka to observe an auction. Meanwhile, a treasury bill auction worth 24 billion rupees took place at the Central Bank today. The Central Bank said that treasury bills which were auctioned today are to mature in periods of 3 months, 6 months and a year. Meanwhile, the Cabinet media briefing was held this afternoon.
Until 2012, every gazette notification has been signed by the Finance Minister. But in 2013, this tradition has been changed and a gazette has been sent by the Governor of the Central Bank at the time without the signature of the Finance Minister, who was also President at that time. The gazette has been printed without the signature of the government printer. when it was sent in 2014, since it was done in the previous year, the same thing was done in 2014 as well. The same followed in 2015. There has been a mechanism. According to the Act, this is wrong. There were two instances, and even on the 1st of January 2015, it was President Mahinda Rajapaksa who was in power. The Gazette was printed under the signature of the President. Even though the minister changed, that was not changed. On the 31st of December 2015, the Governor of the Central Bank should provide the approval to close the Gazette and receive approval for the others. At that point, Arjuna Mahendran has stated that he cannot sign it. He had refrained from signing it. Then a new governor was appointed. The officials handed this over to Kumaraswamy to sign it in November 2016. It was then approved in November 2016. This is a problem of the central bank.
Meanwhile, Cabinet has granted approval to procure 3 vessels for the National Coast Guard Department. Based on the approval to construct floating solar power plants in Mahavali Reservoir, a solar power plant of 100 megawatts is to be constructed in a 500-acre area in Madru-Oya. Meanwhile, Cabinet has also granted approval to provide compensation to those who were injured and to the families of the victims of the incident that took place at the Valikadu prison on the 9th of November 2012.
27 inmates were killed, 1 prison official and 20 other inmates were injured. A 3-member committee was appointed in connection to this incident. The report was handed in. The report recommends that compensation be provided to 16 of the 27 that were killed. The 11 others were inmates who tried to escape from prison and got killed, so it says that they do not need compensation. It also says that compensation be provided to the prison official and the 20 inmates who were injured. Minister Swaminathan made the proposal to grant 2 million to the families of the victims and 500,000 rupees to the people who were injured. That was approved by the Cabinet of Ministers. The report was produced to the Cabinet yesterday. It contains the complete details. One recommendation is to grant compensation. The legal action needs to be in addition to this. This was not the result of a conflict. The government willingly killed those people. That was the opinion that was accepted.
The Mount Lavinia Magistrates Court was on lockdown today and proceedings suspended following the discovery of a bag containing a revolver, a pistol and 10 bullets. Police said that following the discovery, a complete search was carried out at the premises.
The police canine unit was called in to inspect Mount Lavinia Magistrates Court after the discovery of the weapons. After the ambush on the Kaluthura prison transport on Monday, security at court complexes had been beefed up and the discovery was made when the magistrate court premises was being searched by a special police team today. Police said the weapons were kept prepared to fire. The weapons discovered were a Chinese-made pistol and 4 bullets along with a revolver with 6 bullets. Police suspect that the weapons may have been placed at the premises to launch an attack. It was reported that notorious underworld figure Kovil Roha, alias Rohan Silva, who is allegedly connected to a series of crimes, was escorted to the court premises today. He was arrested over an incident where shots were fired at police officers in Kurunagala on the 15th of November 2016, killing one of the officers. Detectives have uncovered details of a war between the suspect and another underworld gang. The suspect is also believed to be connected to the homicide which occurred in close proximity to the Mahara Court complex on June 23rd last year. The victim of that homicide was Suresh Asanka Silva, alias Lancia, who was being escorted to the magistrates' court to appear for a heroin peddling charge. In a new development, a suspect connected to the shooting of Batikalo District Director of the Land Reforms Commission was arrested today. Nesukumar Vimalaraj was shot at while at his residence on the night of the 22nd. It has been revealed that the suspect was serving as a security officer at the Batikalo District Secretariat. Nesukumar Vimalaraj came to the spotlight for his stance against the illegal acquisition of the government lands in the Batikalo district. The committee appointed by the Minister of Prison Reforms to investigate the ambush on the Kaluthura prison's transport has commenced its investigations. Its head, Rumi Marshuk, said the committee held discussions with the secretary to the ministry yesterday.
The OIC of Kaluthura North has been given a service suspension. The investigations are taking place. This is not the first time such an incident took place. On early occasions, underworld figures were shot at while being moved to court and at times were even abducted. Investigations are underway. This is Sri Lanka. Have you forgotten where you live in? Who says it did not happen during their time? Everything happened during their time. When did that happen? When underworld figures were being transported, many were shot dead. They must have done that. The underworld was not suppressed. This was the first incident under this government.
Deputy Minister Ranjan Ramanayake has filed a complaint with the police following an escalated exchange of words with MP Indika Anuruddha at yesterday's Devulapitiya Development Committee meeting. An argument over the questioning of officials on earth excavation in Devulapitiya led to a heated situation between Deputy Minister Ranjan Ramanayake and MP Indika Anuruddha at the Devulapitiya Divisional Secretariat. Police officers from Devulapitiya, Kottadeniyawa and Kochikade, as well as local politicos and state officials from the area attended this meeting. Following the tense situation, both politicians made comments to the media.
The people in Devulapitiya are stressed. That is what I expressed. There is no water in Devulapitiya.
All he knows is about the road show. He's trying to take away the property of the rural industrialist and also cause character defamation. That is what he does.
Is there an issue over my conduct? This is not a personal issue. I have water at my home. At the Devulapitiya Development Committee, I raised the issue of water.
My requirement was to represent the committee meeting and fulfill the requirements of the people. I will not allow for any facade. As a person born in Devulapitiya and representing it in Parliament, Indika Anuruddha will not allow Ranjan Ramanayake to act in this manner. It must be made clear.
You, the media, must show the country as to who behaved in an unruly manner. I said that 6 conditions were violated. The people saw that. I believe that those connected to that trade are the ones who were furious.
This is not to be allowed anymore. Persons not from Devulapitiya will not be allowed to come to Devulapitiya and dictate terms to us. We will implement the mechanism to protect Devulapitiya. Following the meeting, the Deputy Minister lodged a complaint with the Merihana police.
He said he would kill me. 48 persons have lost their lives at the hands of the mafia. 8 months ago, Nilantha, who worked with Indika Anuruddha in sand excavation, was shot in the head. I will not take this threat lightly.
Police said it will investigate the matter.
The Anti-Corruption Front says that a risk has arisen where the country could lose international projects as a result of Muhuthan Kanage being appointed to the position of Chief Executive Officer of the Information Communication Technology Agency, or ICTA, without heeding the instructions of the President.
The President on the 26th January last year had instructed that Muhuthan Kanage be appointed only as a Director of ICTA. A prior letter sent by the President to the Secretary of the Ministry of Telecommunication and Digital Infrastructure on the 10th of December 2015 with regard to the appointing of chairman and directors to the agency states that an open and methodical system should be used to select the Chief Executive Officer of ICTA. The President has also instructed that interviews be held and a suitable person be selected for the position. The Anti-Corruption Front says that the appointment of Muhuthan Kanage has been carried out ignoring the advice of the President.
ICTA ආයතනයේ ප්‍රධාන විධායක මුහුන්තන් කනකේගේ පත්වීම සිදු කරන්නේ ලෝක
Muhundan Kanage's appointment to the post of CEO at ICTA happens under a system that is put in place to promote the IT sector in the country, funded by the World Bank. The agreement that was reached between the World Bank and the government of Sri Lanka clearly states that when the agreement is a consultation project exceeding 5 million rupees, the appointments that are carried out by the ministry should fall under proper procedure and a tender procedure. This particular appointment that involves a contract over 5 million rupees has not received the approval of the ministry in any way. This is a mechanism that violates the tender procedure. The President can provide decisions with regard to this. All sectors have been informed of this. When the CEO is appointed in such a way, the contracts that are reached with international bodies that are providing funds to Sri Lanka are put into a dangerous state. We must not forget that a large amount of money has been allocated for the information communication sector of this country. They are trying to deviously take this money using projects and handing them over to private sector companies that are owned by the same people. They are trying to increase the tax that is paid by the television channels in the country. They are carrying these projects out for private privileges.
රූපවාහිනී නාලිකාවල් වලට ගෙවන බදු මුදල වැඩි කර ගැනීමේ ව්‍යාපෘතියක් තමයි පෞද්ගලික සුඛ විහරණය සඳහා මේ ක්‍රියාත්මක කරමින් ඉන්නේ.
සමහර නිලධාරීන්
We see a situation where some people are acting based on the business mentality rather than the duty that they need to carry out. That is why we are faced with this situation. But when the President is informed of this, he will take the necessary action.
ඒකට අවශ්‍ය තීන්දුව ඉදිරියට ගනී.
The United National Party convened a media briefing at its party headquarters, Sirikota, today.
Now, when the number of Pradesh Sabha members who maintained with public funds is double, the people of this country will definitely reprimand us. The general public will be disgusted. Therefore, preventing the people from frowning upon this lies in the hands of the Minister of Local Government. So, if this is being delayed through these bills, then let the old system prevail. Let the old system prevail, and when the new constitution comes into existence, we can include the process for the parliamentary elections, provincial council elections and the local government elections. Bring in one constitution consisting of all of this.
A walk organized by the Ministry of Women and Child Affairs to mark International Women's Day, which is commemorated on the 8th of March, took place in Colombo today.
The walk theme Tunkal Dakini Savyeng Divya Dinani commenced from opposite the Nelum Pokuna Theatre in Colombo this morning. The Prime Minister's wife, Professor Maitri Wickramasinghe, presided over the event. Minister of Women and Child Affairs Chandrani Bandara, Minister of Foreign Employment Thalathantu Korala and government officials also took part in the walk. The ICL Marketing Private Limited, a member of the Capital Maharaj Organisation Limited, also supported the walk. Primetime news on News First. Still on to a story that we have been following now. This evening, a group of including movie directors held a joint media briefing where short-term and long-term proposals to protect the industry were presented. A tense situation arose when Somarathan Dissanayake expressed his views on behalf of the Film Producers Association.
This is not a set of proposals that will be accepted by all, but it is fair that a set of proposals is presented. There are other organizations that work for the betterment of this industry. All these organizations may have other opinions. If there is an industry, there needs to be the producers. It is the producers who engage in this industry. Therefore, can this art be established without the producers and the industry? This is a point that I raise. We believe that our organization is bigger than the others. If the Film Producers Association thinks that they are better, and if some other organization thinks that they are even better, then it is wrong. It is with disappointment that I say that the only reason that we cannot uplift the cinema in this country is solely because of these divisions. We need to have unity. We must unite to create movies that will be screened for the majority viewer base. So we must be able to open all the 140 cinema halls in the country. I must mention this here. The Maharaja Organisation Limited has also produced a film called Dharma Udaya. If we open the cinemas, the Maharaja Organisation Limited can screen this movie in all 140 cinema halls, putting a stop to all the others. They can screen the next movie as well, and then the next. Only those with funding will be able to open the cinema halls in this manner. This is a centralized issue. This is the only organization. This is the only organization with the majority of film directors. There may be other organizations.
නිෂ්පාදකවරුන්ගේ සංගමය නෑ.
සාකච්ඡා කරලා ඔබ දන්නවා කොච්චර මහන්සියද හදලා තියෙන්නේ.
අන්න මෙයාට ඔබට දෙන්න අවස්ථාව. නෑ අවශ්‍ය නෑ.
ඒක හැරුණා කරන්නේ මේක තමයි අධ්‍යක්ෂ වැඩමුළුවේ ඉන්න සංසද.
මම කිව්වේ සිනමාව මෙන්න පිළිසිදි එකම සංගමයේ මේක නෙමෙයි. අධ්‍යක්ෂවරුන් නැත්නම් සංකේත මේක. එහෙම තව සංගමයක් තියෙනවා නිෂ්පාදකවරුන් වැඩමුළුවේ සංගමය.
නිෂ්පාදකවරුන් සංගමය නෑ.
මේක අතර කොහොමද
All these organizations mentioned in the backdrop have joined hands with us. As far as I am aware, there is no such thing as the producers' guilds.
එක්කෙනෙක් දෙන්නෙක් එකතු වෙලා ගෙවල් වල හදපු සමිතිය තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. නමුත් ශ්‍රී ලංකා අපිට producers guild of Sri Lanka මට ඉඩ දෙන්න ඔබතුමා. නැහැ. producers guild of Sri Lanka කියලා එකක් නැහැ. producers guild of Sri Lanka කියලා එකක් නැහැ.
Are you aware of the organizations in this country? Can't there be organizations that you are not aware of?
The final lecture on Bhagavad Gita delivered by Sunanda Ji, daughter and disciple of Swami Parthasarathi, was held at the Buddhist Cultural Center in Colombo yesterday.
Yesterday's lecture, which was delivered from Bhagavad Gita chapter 18, Liberation Through Renunciation, was on the topic Find the Missing Piece.
What is your natural state? Is happiness, peace, contentment. That is your natural state, because you will never be concerned if you're happy, peaceful. Now the question is where to find it. So what do people do? They try to get more money, acquisition, enjoyment, go out into the world, because it gives happiness. Yes, you do feel happy, but it's got a shelf life. It's not permanent. Because after a while, it goes. What gave you happiness initially brings about sorrow later. So that cannot be true happiness. And that's why Christ said the kingdom of heaven is within you. The greatest jihad is that of the conquest of your own self. So you've got to look for that peace and bliss within.
The lecture was attended by individuals from all walks of life.
Back to your own.
Here's a look at judicial proceedings from the day.
Australian businessman John Brian Shaddick provided evidence before the Colombo High Court today in connection to the case filed against MP Udaya Gammanpilla. Speaking in court, Brian Shaddick said that he never granted Udaya Gammanpilla the power of attorney to operate on behalf of his business establishment. He also informed court that the signature on the power of attorney document is not his. The Australian businessman said that the Digital Nominees company was a private-owned family business. He added that his company invested 100,000 Australian dollars at a private bank. Speaking in court, he noted that it was only through a phone call made to the bank that he became aware that the money had been withdrawn by someone else. The witness revealed in court that he initially believed that his one-time business association Sydney Jayasinghe has taken away the money, but later was made aware that it was Udaya Gammanpilla who had taken away the money from the bank. The case will be taken up again on the 14th of this month.
The complainants of the case, Brian Shaddick and his wife, met me and explained everything. They are in extreme shock. I asked if they would return to Sri Lanka. They said never again. As Live government, we speak of bringing international investors to the country. In that backdrop, if incidents like this spread, the faith placed in the country, the economy as well as on its people will be tarnished.
We informed court of the biased actions of the Attorney General and the IGP with regard to this case. We were instructed to take separate legal action.
And in some sports news this evening, now the Sri Lanka Army today promoted Sri Lankan cricketers Sikuge Prasanna and Asela Gunaratne.
In recognition of their sporting prowess, the Sri Lanka Army had given the promotions to Sikuge Prasanna and Asela Gunaratne. The military spokesperson commented on this decision at today's cabinet media briefing. Taking their sporting prowess into consideration, Sikuge Prasanna has been promoted to the rank of Warrant Officer 1 and Asela Gunaratna has been promoted to the rank of Warrant Officer 2. Meanwhile, Sri Lanka won gold at the 13th West Asian Baseball Cup 2017, defeating host Pakistan 3-2 in the finals.
Well, looking back at the stories that we've been covering here on the news, you do, of course, can log on to our website, that's www.Newsfirst.lk. But just taking a look at what we have been covering on the news so far, that's taking a look at our headline-making stories. If you missed out on these stories throughout the bulletin. So 81 members involved in the Uva Velasa rebellion declared national heroes, and this event took place at the Magul Madua at Kandy with the participation of President Maithripala Sirisena, who actually declared these traitors. They were billed as traitors by the imperialists during the 1818 Uva Velasa rebellion. Now, 2 guns and ammunition was found in the premises of the Mount Lavinia Magistrates Court. That was after the Kaluthari incident. Security has been beefed up in most of the court complexes in the country. And also there was a follow-up on the heated situation that occurred at the Dewlapitiya Development Committee meeting and what transpired there. We got the views of both parties involved in this meeting. Well, moving on to another one of our main stories on the bulletin today, Parliamentarian Hirunika Premachandra made comments relating to the prison hospitals in December last year. The wall on the prison bears the text, "Prisoners are human beings." Yet all prisoners are not VIPs, and many of them languish in the cells serving their time. However, a question raised by many is, why do ministers and parliamentarians, once sentenced by court, immediately get themselves hospitalized? We have an answer tonight. The identities of the personnel interviewed in the following report have been concealed as per a request made by them.
Is it possible for anyone who is incarcerated to be admitted to the prison hospital?
It is not possible unless they are ill or in a feeble state.
Let's assume that for an offence the court decides to send me to prison. While being transported, I state that I have a pain in my hip. Will I be admitted to the prison hospital in such an instance? What is the process?
While being transported, if you say that you have a hip pain, there are separate factors that will come into play when deciding whether you will be admitted to hospital or not. Let's assume that you were taken to the prison in the evening. You will be directed to a doctor in the OPD of the prison hospital. If the doctor rules that your situation is serious and you must be admitted, then you will be admitted. If not, the doctor can provide medication and you will be sent back to prison.
In recent times, we witnessed how VIPs facing various charges were hospitalized immediately after they were taken to prison. How does this happen?
This is the same issue that we have.
It is the responsibility of all prison doctors to pay attention to the patients that are admitted. So are the prison doctors capable of making healthy people sick?
I will not deny that. However, I do not appreciate all doctors and health workers serving the prison hospital being put to that level. When an inmate is admitted to the prison hospital, he must return to his home, which is the cell, after he recovers. The issue is that some do not return to their cells. That is why we say that there is an illegal factor in play.
Public funds maintain the prisons. If there is something illegal taking place in there, the people must be made aware. Who is intervening in these illegal matters? Who is accountable?
Wrongs cannot be committed by one person alone. A majority in the prison administration and hospital administration must be held accountable.
However, in recent times, the Ministry of Health took some steps and doctors of the prison's hospital were also given transfers.
However, it was not enough to curtail all these corrupt practices.
Can inmates have direct connections to the prison hospital? So, is there anyone serving as the middleman to create a network between the inmates, the doctors who you call corrupt?
These middlemen can be prison officials. It can also be other inmates recruited by doctors or health workers in the prison hospital.
As an inmate, how much will it cost me to remain hospitalized until I am granted bail?
According to some inmates, there are various charges. They will have to pay the sum determined by the party that connects them to the doctor. We have been told that though a normal inmate is charged a sum ranging from 10,000 rupees to 25,000 rupees, there are VIPs who pay in the millions.
1.5 million තමයි ලොකු කෙනෙකුට.
How many so-called VIPs are currently being treated at prison hospital?
There are no so-called VIPs at present. However, there are over 10 inmates who continue to remain in the prison hospital without being discharged. In the recent past, there were many VIPs who admitted themselves into the prison hospital.
There needs to be recommendations from the doctor for this. Such a recommendation about an inmate was proven as false when the medical council examined the prisoner.
රෝහලේ සිටින රැඳවියෙක්ව අධිකරණයට ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න හැකියාව තියෙනවා ඔය කියන ලෙඩක් ඔහුට නැහැ කියලා.
The inmates you are speaking of attempted to show his ailment by using wheelchairs and stretchers to go to court. However, that medical council was not fooled by this act. They fearlessly expressed their views.
Can you state that this individual does not suffer from an ailment with responsibility?
ඔප්පු කරන්න පුළුවන්.
ඔය සඳහන් කරන තත්ත්වයේ රෝගී තත්ත්වයක්
ඔප්පු කරන්න පුළුවන්ද?
නැහැ කියලා ඔප්පු කරන්න පුළුවන්.